Kenny's in trouble. He's going to run. He's going to get the first down.
Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Sauce time. The Pitt Panthers have pulled a stunning upset over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
And Johnny Majors gets a ride across the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Semple Fi Podcast. College football podcast is focusing on Pitt Panther football. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. With me is my co-host, Kent Vanderwood. How you doing, Kent?
Good, Zach. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm still high on the 2021 Pitt season. I was sitting at work today, not working, but I was watching the Pitt Field Pass videos and just amping myself up.
Classic.
You know, I'm actually in the Virginia Tech one.
Are you?
Yeah, at the very end, I mean, I look like a moron because I've been drinking just like 10 a.m. that day, but I'm like waving my arms and like chanting, "Let's go Pitt." Go look it up. It's very funny. Very easy to see because I'm like the only guy with fucking long hair in that video.
Oh, I love that. I think I might have seen that, but I should go back and double check. Anyway,
we're here to give you the State of the NardUnion. After the ACC championship, after both Mark Whipple and Brennan Marion finding new homes in the coaching world, after Kenny Pickett leaves after his spectacular senior season, which gave me hope for this program again, which is dangerous.
Really took the program from 0 to 100 all in one season. Nobody expected it.
Dude, I was thinking about this.
Really raised our expectations moving forward.
Remember when we were freshmen and Max Brown was the starting quarterback?
And the student section chanted for DiNucci, and they put him in. And
the
rest is history.
Not just that, but Max Brown getting hurt, then Ben DiNucci sucking at the FBS level. Max Brown gave us Kenny Pickett. Therefore, Max Brown is responsible for the 2021 ACC championship of your Pitt Panthers. The line is straight.
You're not wrong.
All right. First, what I want to talk is transfers, because at the end of the season, with so many people coming back to Pitt using that that extra year of eligibility from COVID, because you had like the entire offensive line coming back, and there's a bunch of other people, but I actually can't name them off the top of my head right now. But Pitt was like 10 or 15 scholarships over the limit. So I was desperately following this throughout the offseason, trying to figure out, would the fucking scholarship math work? Would we have to kick people off the team? And I'm not sure if we kick people off the team, but it kind of feels like that because a lot of the transfers are just guys who would never, ever see playing time on the field. We'll go through this like by position, right?
Mm-hmm.
So starting with Davis Bevell is a quarterback who made me lose a lot of money.
He was tough to watch in that game, man. I mean, coming in, I really had a lot of hope for him. I was rooting for him to be maybe Kenny's successor. Nobody really knew what we had behind Kenny. We've been watching him for 5 years. So, minus Notre Dame last year and a couple other games, Kenny was hurt. But
we
didn't really get to see a lot of Davis Bevell until that ACC championship game. Or, sorry, not ACC championship.
The
Peach Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, even when Kenny was hurt in 2020, Joey Yellen stunk. I actually stole an 18-rack of Miller Lite from him at a party that year because he sucked and he didn't do anything against like the worst Miami team I've ever seen. Sorry. But anyway, Joey Yellen stinks. Stole a case of beer from him. But Bevell was going to be behind every other quarterback, is what it is.
Joey Yellen, if you're listening, he didn't do that.
Joey Yellen, if you're listening to the first episode of my podcast ever, hi, we'd love to have you on. I did steal that beer, though. It was really, hey, I appreciate it. All right, elsewhere on offense, you have the two running backs, Todd Sibley and A.J. Davis. They both stink. By Michael Statham, who's a tackle, never saw playing time. Shockey Jacques Louis, actually a really good player. Sad to see him go, but he's going to be so far down the depth chart with guys like Addison, Jared Wayne, even like Jalen Barden is probably going to get in over him. And then like we'll talk about Kanata Mumfield later.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of these skill position guys, both running backs, Shockey, I think they really just got beat out by some of the younger guys that came in. And sad to see him go, I guess. But at the same time, you're just excited for the other guys to come in and show why show why they deserve the spot over them, I guess.
Izzy and Roddy Hammond already showed, and then I'm excited for Jordan Bailey to show up on campus, who almost flipped to Auburn at the last second, then chose Pitt, which is cool. Honestly, the major news in transfers from Pitt is the linebackers. We had 4 linebackers transfer out: Cam Bright, Leslie Smith, AJ Roberts, and Wendell Davis. Probably the most impactful of those are Cam Bright and Wendell Davis, because they played backup middle linebacker, or there's a different name for it in Narduzzi's defense, but I forget. So the real impact from that is that Pitt is very, very thin at linebacker going into this year. And that kind of influenced what they did in the transfer portal, because they did only what they could with the limited amount of scholarships they had. They brought in a total of 5 guys, technically 4. One was just a 2021 transfer that's now eligible this year. But 2 of them were linebackers. You got Shane Simon from Notre Dame, and then recently Tyler Wiltz, who's an all FCS linebacker from Missouri State. That's just loading up at a position of need. Nothing really to note there. I'm not really too familiar with either player, but it is what it is. You only have 3 linebackers on the roster, need more.
Yeah, Shane Simon seemed, looking into him a little bit, seems like he had a little bit of an up and down time at Notre Dame. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of role he plays on this Pitt team. And yeah, Tyler Wiltz, don't really know anything about him, but we'll see if he makes any impact.
All we know about him is he spells his name weird. Tyler, Tylar. What's up with that? Just questioning.
A little odd.
Is it going to affect his football playing skills? Maybe. The guy I mentioned before, the guy who's only eligible this year because of a weird transfer rule, is Ryan Jacoby, former 4-star tackle out of Ohio State. He probably is good. He's just not going to see much playing time this year unless there's an injury on the line. The entire offensive line's coming back, so he's probably just waiting in the wings to be the next Pitt offensive lineman, or he's Pitt linemen get hurt, so he's probably going to have a chance to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 transfers we haven't talked about yet, they're the 2 biggest ones, obviously.
By far.
We'll start with Kanata Mumfield, wide receiver from Akron. He transferred here just after his freshman year, so 1 year there, went right up to the Power 5. He's named a freshman All-American and a second-team MAC selection in his freshman year, which is very impressive. So, totally has 63 catches for 751 yards and 8 touchdowns. You're just loading up at wide receiver. The Pitt wide receiver room is I'm not going to say it's the best in the nation, because Ohio State exists and you have Jackson Smith and Jigba and other guys behind him. But outside of your recruiting Death Stars, your Alabamas and Ohio States, this is a really impressive wide receiver room that we're building right here.
It really is. Between Mumfield and Wayne and obviously Addison. We'll see if Addison can have the same kind of success with, whoever's playing QB this year. We have, a decent idea who it's going to be, but I really think they might be treating it like an open competition through camp, and we'll see.
And what a transition, because the crown jewel of Pitt's transfer portal acquisitions this offseason, none other than the USC quarterback, Keaton Slovis. What's more to say? He was a very impressive freshman. Really thought had people thinking that USC would be back under OC Graham Harrell. He comes down to Pittsburgh now that Harrell's out. Or sorry, not Harrell. Clay Helton. After a couple up and down seasons from injury and the fact that Clay Helton is your head coach. But it seems to be an open battle between him and Nick Patty, who has been pretty impressive in backup roles in the past. So I don't think we're going to learn anything through spring camp. I think it's going to be a fall camp decision. But listen,
they might keep it in the dark until the day of West Virginia. They might.
I'm fine with that. I do not want that loser program who has had 22 transfers out to know anything. I want to drop 700 points on them, and I'll probably go on another rant about West Virginia later.
Absolutely.
All right. There's your additions. I'm not going to really touch on recruiting, at least for this cycle in this episode. Kind of want to give that its own little thing. So after talking transfers, what I want to talk about now are the two new coaches that are coming out to Pitt staff. That would be Frank Cignetti, the new offensive coordinator, and Taekwon Underwood, the new wide receivers coach, replacing Brennan Marion. Let's start with Cignetti. I'm not sure about you, but I'm kind of happy that Mark Whipple's gone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, from rumblings we heard around the team, not sure exactly what you're getting off the field with Whipple, but in terms of, the success we had last year, wouldn't have mind seeing him come back.
I mean, I don't know.
I think having Kenny run to the sideline for every play last year was ridiculous, but I think if we get a little bit more balance, especially because whoever steps in, whether it's Patty or Slovis, I mean, it's hard to replicate a season like Kenny had last year. It really is. So,
well, here's the thing that I think I'm pretty confident that Frank Cignetti is going to bring honestly a better offense. In my opinion, Mark Whipple ran a watered down. It's a weird mix of Mike Leach's air raid and pro style passing concepts. But the way that he just treated the pass as the utmost important thing, using screens as your major run game, made me sick to my stomach last year. So I actually, again, while I was dicking around at work, I went back and looked at a bunch of old Boston College offensive film from 2020 and 2021 when their offense was both good and bad. And then I actually looked at his first stint at Pitt. They have the entirety of the Cincinnati Pitt Big East Championship online. It's awesome. It's in 480p. I recommend everyone to watch it. Let's start with what we can expect. I think that what Cignetti brings really complements the roster makeup of what Pitt has on offense. And that mainly being the way he uses tight ends and the way he gets people open in the passing game. So let's start with tight ends, especially in the run game, right? Frank Cignetti heavily uses tight end pulls across the formation to get people or to get his running backs into space while utilizing mostly one-on-one blocking down the rest of the line. And Boston College has some really, really good running offenses lately. So I'm not going to question them on that. I've looked at it. They blow open holes. I was even looking at their tape when they beat Pitt a couple years ago. It's the same deal. You just use that tight end to kick someone out to just get backs like Izzy and Hammond running downfield. My first test for Frank Cignetti: do not start Vincent Davis.
Do not. Don't do it.
This style of offense that Frank runs is downhill running, and I know that Vincent Davis plays like a patient back. He really does try and be this little Le'Veon Bell. The issue is that he's little. He's smaller than me.
He's so small.
So I think that with guys like Izzy, who is that bigger patient back with speed, and then Rodney Hammond, who is just like a meatball, and I think who can really develop that cut and patience as a running back.
It better be Izzy. It better be Izzy and Hammond, and then Vincent Davis can be a nice little third down feature back occasionally. That. But
we're fine with that.
I mean,
so my first challenge to you, Frank Cignetti: running back one. If it's not Israel Abanikanda, I'll find your home. I'll leave you a nice package on the front door. And this is not legally actionable in any way. Just want to put that out there. Back to tight ends after that brief intermission. I think that a name that we're hearing a lot this summer is a name we're hearing a lot this spring is Jake Renda, who didn't play last year. But I think that he's going to be a really important tight end too in the offense. He is bigger and heavier than Gavin Bartholomew, but he's getting a lot of play this spring. I think that with the tight end pulls across the formation in the run game, he's going to be super important for this team.
Yeah. I mean, we need a second tight end. I mean, last year we had Kroll and we had Gavin, who obviously had a breakout season, but with Gavin as the new assumed feature tight end, we need somebody else to step up and take on that second tight end role. So
I mean, honestly, by the end of last year, I was convinced that Lucas Krull stunk. Dude,
too many drops.
He's like 6'6", gigantic, and would body himself into open space, and then would drop the ball. And I know he's faster than me, but he did not look fast running on TV.
He had one of those seasons where it was like you either love him or you hate him. He was either making a big catch for a big first down, or obviously the UNC game-winning touchdown in the rain. But there was also a lot of big drops too.
It was frustrating.
It was tough to wrap your head around. It really was.
Especially as a senior, then having the fucking 2-star freshman outplay you. Either way.
Gavin's a stud. Gavin is going
to
tear it up this season. I'm excited. The combination between him and this wide receiver room is just going to be as long as the quarterbacks,
as long as it's not Joey Yellen.
Getting ahead of myself now.
So that's what I'm going with. Anyway, that's actually a really good transition to talk about this wide receiver room, because I think that what Cignetti did at Boston College to really open up their passing attack, it was utilizing their star player, their star wide receiver, who's Zay Flowers, who I actually believe is going to the NFL this year. No, okay, he's coming back. So Zay Flowers, he would utilize Zay Flowers in a very, very interesting way. Not only would he scheme him just to get him open, just by getting him in space, getting him the ball as easily as possible, and letting him and his talent do the work. He would utilize Zay Flowers as like a decoy, because he knows that people are going to be all over him as far as secondary goes. He would use that to scheme open his tight ends and his like inside receivers. I think that's just going to be Jordan Addison, right? Like, but you're taking an offense that was already getting its best guy open, then using him to get other guys open. You're just replacing that with a Bolitnikov winner and better surrounding talent.
It's going to be pick your poison.
It really is. Like, as long as the offensive line can hold a block, and for fuck's sake, we didn't even get Clemson, who's the best defensive line in the ACC in the regular season. It should be passes to Addison, Wayne, Bartholomew, Mumfield, Jalen Barden. Pick your poison. It's a great way to say it.
I've been watching some Mumfield highlights recently. I'm excited for him. I really am. I think that's just, when we got him, that was just over the moon excitement for me, at least personally. I think adding another weapon to distract at least a little bit from Addison, or if all the attention is going to Addison, have another dangerous receiver.
I can't wait, especially because like we essentially traded him for Shockey Louis, which I wish him the best, but he was probably like the 4th or 5th best receiver at most times last year.
Yeah, and coming in as a freshman too, Shockey was one of those guys that I thought would be a breakout kind of guy, and it always kind of seemed like every year it was like, is this the year that Shockey breaks out? And it just never happened.
I never really thought of him as a Shockey.
Obviously,
I always thought he was more like a wide receiver 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would say, I guess more maybe just coming in, but after how many years was he here? 3?
Was he here a freshman year?
No, I think he came in. I think he came in the year after. But anyways, after a year or two of him not really doing anything, it was kind of like, But
so moving on, the point here is that Cignetti's going to bring a more balanced offense than we had last year. Obviously, I think it's going to utilize our skill position well, and he has too much skill position talent not to succeed. I mean, you're probably not going to be putting up like, I don't know if I expect like 40 a game, or maybe I do. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You should score a lot of points.
Our expectations are just so high right now, coming off that season.
That's true. Moving on, and I'm going to talk about both Tyquan Underwood, the wide receivers coach, and Cignetti in this light, is that these two guys are really good recruiters. Now, I think Brennan Marion was a little bit better. I was really mad when he went to Texas. But Frank Cignetti is already so much better a recruiter than Mark Whipple. He, like, on the record, hated recruiting. He refused to do it at UMass.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm just going to scheme. And, it's UMass, but they fucking stunk. But already, like, Frank Cignetti is offering 3-star, 4-star quarterbacks that Pitt should be going for now that they've shown they can be a really strong program and send quarterbacks to the NFL. I mean, for fuck's sake, Pitt put Nathan Peterman in the NFL. Like, come on. The evidence is there.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, you'd think more of these recruits would notice how many Pitt guys really just go to the NFL and have success. It doesn't even matter whether the team is good or not, honestly. I mean, they just produce NFL talent. Think about all the big names we've.
I mean, as far as like sending NFL talent, like, yes, Pitt's really, really successful at doing that. There's defensive players all over the board. There's linemen all over the NFL. And I really think that just winning the ACC title and having the national attention is bringing recruiting so much higher than it has been over the last, basically for the entirety of Narduzzi's tenure. You're seeing like high 3-star recruits putting Pitt already in their like final top 6, top 8. You're seeing a lot of 4-star recruits come visit Pitt. I think that's the most important because Pitt usually only gets, one, maybe 2 4-stars a class. And I think that bringing these 2 coaches in who are really talented recruiters, that is by and far away a huge win for Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. And I think, it really just comes down to getting more guys on an official visit or on an unofficial visit to campus. Because I think, you listen to an interview with Jordan Addison, he says, Pitt wasn't on my radar at all. And then when I came to visit, when you see they share a practice facility with the Steelers and they're around, Mike Tomlin and guys like that, and they see all the time. It's cool. It's like nobody really expects that from Pitt. And then when you actually go, as a recruit, when you go visit, it's a whole different ballgame when you see all that. So
speak of the devil, and looking right now, the number 5 Pennsylvania recruit of 2024 is coming out to the spring game. So already, like, you're seeing the effects of Kenny Pickett. You're seeing the effects of the new recruiters. I mean, even probably some of the relationships that Brendan Marion forged. They've been able to roll them over with guys like Taquan Underwood and Frank Scudetti. So really, they just have to capitalize on this season and get these guys on official visits. They have to get these guys committed. We had a commit this year. What the fuck's his name? Samuel Okunula. His brother is a 4-star offensive tackle. We have to get guys like that over programs like Penn State and Notre Dame. Jesus Christ, he's not from A&M. Maybe not, but we have to be going after these high 4-star guys to try and bring more talent to the program. Just keep it going.
Got to keep the ball rolling.
I think that this is a good place to talk now about Pat Narduzzi, who just recently got an extension through 2030, which I believe is only a 6-year extension. Because he was already on contract through 2024. I think that, honestly, it was in the modern landscape of college football, you have to give him that extension, right? Because if you don't extend him after this year, he's only got 2 years left on his contract, and that actively works against you in recruiting. If you are not committed to a program for a long time, a lot of recruits and parents will ask you, like, how do we know if you're not going to jump ship in 2 years or 1 year and get fired? This long-term commitment, it's deserved because he's only really had like one bad season at Pitt. But it really is like, I honestly think the major factor in this is that you need a long-term head coach in order to recruit high-level players to your program.
I agree. My question, do you think they lose the ACC championship? Does he get that contract extension this offseason? Kenny's not a Heisman finalist, and they lose the ACC.
You're saying if they lose to Wake Forest?
If they lose to Wake Forest, then maybe they lose like one other game. Kenny doesn't quite make it as a Heisman finalist, but overall, like, say they finish. What they finish this year?
We were 11-3 this year.
11-2. 11-3. So say they finish like. All right, so they don't make the Peach Bowl, or I guess they'd still have a bowl game.
But, like 9-4.
They lose one or two more games. Kenny doesn't quite make a Heisman finalist, but they still have a good season. Does he get that extension?
I mean, if you're saying like a 9-4 season, they don't win their division at that point, I would assume, unless they lose to like Tennessee.
How about if they just straight up, they have the same season, but they lose to Wake Forest in the ACC championship?
I think that he gets the contract extension if he just loses to Wake, because remember he got like the first contract extension after like a fucking terrible season. I think he got extended
Yeah,
for
I do remember that.
2017 when they went 5-7, and their only bright spot was that they beat number 2 Miami, which was a very bright spot. One of my good friends is a Miami fan, and I will never let him live it down, even though Pitt is 0-4 against Miami since then.
And that was the same year that we endured sitting through a loss in overtime to Youngstown State.
We won that. We won that game.
Never mind.
Because the next week it was 55. It was 90 degrees out, and Oklahoma State dropped 50 on us.
That's right. I do remember Mason Rudolph. Yep.
What a quarter.
We pulled it out in overtime against Youngstown State, and then came back to Mason Rudolph. Absolutely destroying
and
them.
that was after they got fucking pants by Penn State too. Okay.
Mason Rudolph's finest game at Heinz Field by far.
All right. Not to talk too much about Mason Rudolph because it's kiss and titties season in Pittsburgh. I think that if
it is,
Narduzzi doesn't want to become like Dave Wanstead 2.0, who was a good coach but got forced out because he was just producing mediocre results year in, year out, is, like I said before, you have to keep up the momentum with recruiting, and you have to capitalize on the players that you're going to be sending to the NFL in the next few years. Think about it. We're obviously sending Kenny this year, and I don't think there's many other guys who will get drafted besides maybe Cal Adamitis, maybe long snapper. I don't know how they get drafted, but
maybe 6th or 7th round.
Guys like Jordan Addis, maybe, right? But guys like Addison, Jared Wayne, probably 2 or 3 guys from the offensive line, the entire defensive line, Brandon Hill, Servassier Dennis. You have to be able to translate NFL talent at Pittsburgh into winning football games and winning division titles, making championship game appearances, championship game wins, obviously. You got to be able to turn this into national TV time and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think one way to start that is just to win Pennsylvania recruiting battles. Pennsylvania is not the most talented state in the country anymore, obviously. We go into Ohio, Florida, Georgia, Texas for recruits, but we can't be losing every in-state battle to Penn State or having them leave state for other schools. We need to be able to compete for the 4 stars that are coming out of this state. And like I said before, I think the new coaches, the breakout season, and then the long contract, I think it should help, but really you have to start winning these local recruiting battles, especially guys coming out of the WPIAL. I mean, keep them home.
Yeah.
You have Elliot Donald right now, and I believe Dayon Hayes is a local kid as well. These guys can succeed at Pitt. Just throw Aaron Donald in their face. Throw Kenny Pickett. Throw Jordan Addison. Like you said before, that clip of him saying, yeah, Pitt was an afterthought, then I visited campus, and he's a Biletnikoff winning. He won the Biletnikoff over Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave.
Yeah. Crazy season.
That's the appeal. Crazy season. Oh my God.
I'm just glad he won it.
Oh my God.
I was worried.
I honestly think that it was him, Jameson Williams, and David Bell, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would just assume they might give it to Jameson, just Addison went to Pitt.
I honestly think that...
How can he win best receiver in the country? He went to Pitt. But he deserved it.
I think that if they don't win the ACC title, he doesn't win Biletnikoff. I do think, though, that
crazy catch in that game,
one of the reasons that he won is that obviously he was the most... I would say the most impressive receiver last season because he was the clear number 1 target and made all these amazing catches. But I think that all the Ohio State receivers, none of them made the final 3. I think they all just kind of canceled out each other's votes. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can repeat. That would be cool.
Yeah, we'll see with those, Ohio State guys too. We'll see.
Oh God, Jackson Smith and Jigba might just go nuclear and call it wraps in week 3.
Very possible.
Very possible. We'll be keeping our eyes out for that. Okay, so I want to ask you, what do you think the reasonable floor for Pitt football is going forward now that Narduzzi is under contract through 2030?
We're talking for this upcoming season or just in general?
I think in general, I think we can go into this season right afterwards.
I mean, in order to keep people happy, I think absolute floor, I'd say around 7 wins.
I mean, he's already he's gonna be going to his 8th year at Pitt. I honestly don't think that 7 wins is acceptable anymore.
I'm talking absolute floor in terms of people not calling for his head, but I was thinking 8.
I would think that 8's
floor.
The absolute floor. And I think that I think 8 is honestly the absolute floor. Like being a one game above 500 team is Pitt has shown they are capable of not being that.
They should be winning at least 9 to 10 at least consistently. Hopefully, I mean that's the thing. It's like, are they gonna take advantage of this amazing season they had and recruit well and replace all these guys that are bound to leave next year for the draft that are old enough, or are they going to be Pitt and fall back into a 5 to 7 win season average slump?
Hopefully, this time Sisyphus can bring the boulder to the top of the hill. We can all escape hell of being a Pitt fan, and that'd be nice. That'd be nice. It
would be nice.
Maybe to beat Miami to being Clemson's equal or Clemson's counterpart in the ACC as far as divisions go.
The hump they need to get over this year. I mean, obviously they lose.
You
Kenny.
Just want to talk schedule at this point?
I mean, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but they just can't.
Well, yeah, the obvious hump is the quarterback, because now you have a vastly unknown quantity in 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I think they're both pretty good. I mean, I'm not really sure what Patty's ceiling is. We've seen what Slovis can be. It's really a matter of.
I wanted Patty to finish that ACC or the Peach Bowl. I really did. I keep saying ACC championship, me and Peach Bowl, but yeah, he came out looking.
I would have loved if he didn't break his collarbone.
Yeah, he came out looking really good, and I was excited for the rest of that game. And then as soon as he was laying on the ground and you saw the replay and the way he was holding his shoulder, it was pretty clear that it was probably a collarbone. Yeah, and then I was like, well, Davis Bevel, let's see, and it didn't go too well. I mean, it's tough to ask him to come out in that spot, but. Clear drop off from 2 to 3.
Davis Bevel, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to give you the Joey Yellen treatment. Wherever you transfer, no distance is too far. I will come, I will find you, and I'll steal an 18 rack of Miller from you.
Well said.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, if you want to talk schedule, the hump I was actually referring to earlier was they need to find a way to not lose a Western Michigan type game, because they still found a way to do that last year.
I feel like the schedule has 3 bumps. I think one is slightly smaller. In my rabid fandom, I think that West Virginia is going to die at Heinz Field. I actually don't think they're that good of a team. I think that Neil Brown is really on his last legs there.
They've lost a lot.
I really
of people
think that
transfer.
They're all leaving Morgantown because it's too racist, actually. And this is totally a fact.
Facts.
I mean,
are you going to the game?
Absolutely, dude.
If you're not at Heinz Field on September 1st, are you a Pitt fan?
The first backyard brawl in over, I think actually 11 years.
I was going to say it's over a decade at this point, I think.
And you're not going to pack out Heinz Field? We need a home field advantage. They're only 90 miles away, something like that.
If it was in Morgantown, I'd be going too. But the fact that it's a home game, first time.
Dude, I'm going to be at the one at Morgantown next year. Don't worry.
I mean, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but yes, I think I will probably make that work as well. But
yeah, not to preview the Pitt 2023 season, but
Thursday night, At first, I was a little mad because I was like, "Damn, now I got to take an extra day off work." But
Yeah.
after I got over that, I was like, "You know what? This is going to be sick." Thursday night, ESPN. Let's do it.
Thursday night, and then because you have to take Friday off, because what are you gonna do? Go for the game, then go back to work?
Oh, absolutely not.
You get
2 days.
win or lose, joy or sadness. I'm gonna be obliterated for about 72 hours.
Have to be.
Like,
Whether they win or lose.
I mean, I was actually really, really happy with how the crowd came out for the Clemson game, but holy shit, if I see an empty seat in Heinz Field September 1st, 2022, you're going to have to call a couple government agencies and report what I'm doing.
And it better be Pitt blue.
Yeah, if you're wearing Mountaineer yellow, buddy, we're going to have an issue. I'm gonna be running Oklahoma drills against West Virginia fans in the gold lot of Heinz Field because I know they don't have that dog in them. They cannot compete with we're mountain folk. Come down to the city and let me show you what it looks like to get hit in an Oklahoma drill. That's all I gotta say. Fuck West Virginia.
Did you see Cal Adamitis' pep talk?
For West Virginia?
Yeah.
I did not. What are you talking about?
He was interviewed recently and gave the greatest pump-up speech for Pitt fans for the September
Oh, I know what you're
1st
talking. Is it like on that Perfect Thursday podcast with the?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right. I think I did see that.
If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I want to talk about what I think are the three biggest road bumps on the Pitt schedule, and in order of importance, I think is Tennessee, Miami, and Louisville. The first big hump they have to clear is Tennessee. If they beat Tennessee, we'll know how good this team is.
Both of the first, their schedule is crazy. I mean, starting out backyard brawl, first time in 11 years, or whatever it is at this point.
And Tennessee
and
up, yeah.
If they win that, I mean, I really hope they just stay focused. And it just seems like could be a letdown game, but if they win that game 2-0 after beating those two teams, then you got a matchup at Western Michigan.
If they don't drop 600 points on Western Michigan and straight up send someone home in a body bag, I'll be disappointed. I think that every single player who was here last year should be out for blood in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, some guys are gone, but most of the team's back, and they better be out for blood. I agree.
This team stole a possible playoff spot from you. Because I think if Pitt's 12-1, they unfortunately probably get in over Cincinnati, even though we love you, Bearcats.
We do love you, Bearcats.
Pitt, if you got that dog in you, you make them want to go back to their shitty college apartment at the end of the first quarter. That's all I got to say.
Where is Western Michigan? Kalamazoo?
Yeah, home of Derek Jeter, actually.
Grand Rapids.
And then Louisville, I think that Willie Cunningham is just dangerous. You got to. And I think that based on the Tennessee game, right, we're gonna know how Louisville's gonna go, just based on Hendon Hooker being a mobile quarterback who can chuck it. Those two games are probably just gonna be boat race games. Whoever gets 100 points first or whatever. And then finally Miami to close out the season. You got to beat them. Mario Cristobal neuters his own offenses. Obviously, Mario Cristobal can recruit all this shit.
A lot of hype surrounding Miami this year.
I get it because Mario Cristobal can coach defense and shit. And
Mario Cristobal, Van Dyke.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure that Mario Cristobal is going to allow Josh Gaddis, their new offensive coordinator, to run a good offense. Oregon, even though they had Joe Moorhead, he would consistently send out his worst personnel on offense. Have to do the shittiest things. It was torture seeing what Joe Moorhead had to do over Oregon. And honestly, last year's Oregon team was fucking soft. They got pantsed by Utah twice in the same exact way. I'm not sure how to feel about Miami until I see them play, but I'm still concerned about them because Pitt has just been horrendous against them since we upset them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Miami has our number right now, so we'll see. I mean, that was a safety this year, by
That
the way.
was a
They should have beat
safety.
them, but 100% safety. Still bitter, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
I'm definitely not still thinking about it, and not thinking about how unbelievably pissed I was sitting in my apartment watching that from a totally legal stream. Well, you were at that game, right?
Yeah. I was in Pittsburgh, but I was not able to go to the game. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. I think I was too hungover, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, that
It sounded
was
way more.
Halloween weekend. That's right.
Yeah, it was Halloween weekend, so it sounds about right. But I think another game that we haven't mentioned yet that seems like a classic Pitt trap game comes week 4. We
Rhode
play.
Island,
So
dude?
we already mentioned. If we get through Tennessee undefeated, we got a huge bloodbath going for blood against Western Michigan. Win that 3-0. You don't see that as a potential letdown game against Rhode Island. Any other team in the country, you'd be like, no, obviously they're going to beat Rhode Island. But this is Pitt we're talking about here.
I get that. Honestly, I'd honestly be more concerned about Virginia Tech at home week 6, right? Rhode Island, there's just a massive talent difference. I mean, fucking, you saw New Hampshire last year where you just dropped 70 effortlessly. Rhode Island, I'm not sure. Honestly, my choice for trap game, if we get out of West Virginia, Tennessee unbeaten, is Virginia Tech. First year head coach, don't know what to expect. Trying to bring back the defense, except good luck with that. Because VTech plays terribly in Heinz Field.
Yeah, they do. As somebody who was at the game where Quadri Olson stiff-armed that man into oblivion and ran it, what was it, 99? Was it 99 yards?
That was a 99-yard run on one of the worst offensive I've ever had to watch.
Oh, it was so bad. So bad. But Quadri was electric. At times, he had his moments, and the best from that season was that run.
Absolutely.
So,
thank God we exiled Sean Watson to Siberia, where he's now he's actually in Ukraine right now, coaching what seems to be a Russian death squad. Anyway, after looking at a picture with Sean Watson standing next to Vladimir Putin and what looks to be Mark Whipple in the background, I think it's time for us to get out of here. This has been the Semple Fi Podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. You can follow me on Twitter at I'm Real Angry. And also you can follow my co-host, Kent Vanderwood. His Twitter is at Kenton_VW. Make sure to follow the podcast at Semple Fi Pod. And we'll talk to you again after the spring game.